I'll try and share my screen. We will wait a couple minutes for anyone else to pop in. Shall we get started? Okay, all right. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to the Virtual College Exploration for all students, sponsored by the Wisconsin Association for College Admissions, Counseling, and StriveScan. Thank you again for joining us. There will be some instructions for you to be aware of. You can use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenter at any time during this presentation. You will be muted and your video will be off, so the panelists will not be able to see or hear you. So definitely utilize the Q&A button if you have questions that come up. And be sure to check the schedule at wacac.com or wacac.com if you'd like to attend any other college presentations. And just know that all of our sessions are recorded and will be available at the WACAC website if you'd like to view it later. So at this point, I will turn it over to the presenters from Iowa State University.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We're really happy to be here to give you information about Iowa State. My name is Kelly Allen. I am one of the 2 regional representatives for the state of Illinois working for the admission office at Iowa State University. I work with students predominantly in the northernmost suburbs of Chicago. I'm based in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, but I have had the fortune to work with families and students from the eastern side of the state of Wisconsin the past 2 years. I am thrilled to be able to tell you all that next week we have a brand new staff member starting who will be working in Wisconsin exclusively. So you too will have your very own regional representative joining our staff and living in Wisconsin and helping you out. So please keep your eyes and ears open for information from her. It's Emily Engelman is her name. And you'll see her doing virtual things through the admission office as well. So I'm happy to share that information with you. I have the good fortune of having my 2 colleagues from the admission office joining me tonight, fellow regional representatives, and I will have them introduce themselves to you. So if Amy wants to go first.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kelly. Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Harker, and I am also a regional representative based in Minnesota. So very close, just over the border from all of you, and I do work and recruit most students throughout most of the state of Minnesota, except for really St. Paul and the eastern side of the metro. So thank you so much for being here. Looking forward to connecting and answering your questions this evening.
Hi students, my name is Colleen Kopis. I am also a regional recruiter based in the Twin Cities in Minnesota. I actually live in Woodbury, Minnesota, so not too far away from Wisconsin, and I cover St. Paul, the Eastern Metro, as Amy mentioned, and I also have Western Wisconsin, so around Eau Claire to River Falls and Hudson. Really excited for all of you to learn more about Iowa State, and Amy and I will actually be facilitating the Q&A, and Kelly will get things started now with the presentation.
And here's a quick shot of Central Campus at Iowa State University. Iowa State University is in Ames, Iowa, which is about the center of the state, about a half an hour north of Des Moines, which is the state capital. Students from Wisconsin are the fourth largest group on campus. Drive time from some of the major cities in the state of Wisconsin include about 6.5 hours from Green Bay, right about 5.5 hours from Milwaukee, and just shy of 4.5 hours from Madison. Again, you all are the fourth biggest total group on campus, the third biggest out-of-state group. So you would have a good number of people, should you decide to come to campus, who at least know where you're from or have an idea of things that you know about from back home, which is kind of a nice, I think, comforting thing to know when you're going away from home to college, that there are people who at least know where you're from, can make things a little bit easier adjusting. And I mentioned the part about out-of-state students. About 46% of our total population are from out of state, and you all would be a major portion of that contingency on campus. We're roughly 34,000 or so total students. About 28,000 of those are undergraduate. We have around 5,500 to 6,000 new students each year, each academic year. And of that total student body, we have more than 115 nations represented on campus. We have more than 900 clubs and activities to be involved in, which all kind of translates to your one amazing adventure at Iowa State University. The way that we are set up academically is we have 6 different undergraduate colleges of study. And the way that these work are the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, the Ivy College of Business, the College of Design, the College of Engineering, the College of Human Sciences, which is home to the School of Education, and the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, which is home to the Greenlee School of Education. Our full name is actually Iowa State University of Science and Technology. So a lot of people think, oh, you're that engineering school, which is accurate. Truly it is. We have 14 different majors in engineering and a lot of science programs to offer as well. We are a Carnegie One doctoral research university. So you do have the ability to be involved in research as early as your freshman year should you want to. But most S&T schools tend to be almost 75 to 90% engineering. We do have a lot of engineering. That's our biggest college of the 6. However, we're kind of a quirky S&T school in that we have a full college, not a program of study or a major, but a full college with more than 9 programs of study in business. Our College of Business is the largest program of its kind in the state of Iowa, and a full College of Design. So quite a few things to offer in total, and not just the science programs that we are very well known for. Now, this is a kind of an eye bender to take a look at this list. This is a lot. So this is all of our more than 100 programs of study. And if you got to see this closer, and you'll see this in publications that we do give out to students or mail to students, it's all kind of color-coded by this over here, this key. So you have, each college has its own color, kind of gives you an idea of where that major belongs or where it's housed. But that gives you a visual of everything we have to offer. I think it kind of helps that way. One thing I should mention to you as well is that if you are wanting to have more details about any of these programs, if you go to our main website, which is www.iastate.edu, up in the upper left-hand corner of the home page, there is an index link. You can click on that and the whole alphabet will pop up in front of you, and that will direct you to hyperlinks for all the things that start with that letter. So maybe you want more information about data science, which is one of our newer majors on campus. Click on D, and you'll be able to go to that hyperlink. That will show you a whole list of details about that program, faculty, staff, email addresses, phone numbers. That's all there for you to use. So please do take advantage of that. If you want that printed information about those programs, you can also request that from our website too. From that admission link, there's a chance to click on something to direct information to be mailed to you. So please do take advantage of that if you want more details about those different types of programs. All those things kind of combine to what we want for you. 95% of our students have gotten a job, a full-time employment in the area they've studied for or have gone on to graduate or professional school within 6 months of graduation. Each of those 6 colleges has their own career services office as well. And that is the place that's kind of a hub of information for you to access as a student looking for that full-time job or graduate school. Each of those career services offices are the ones that kind of create these career fairs. They have 1 or 2 of them per year for all the students to access, having employers come to campus to meet with you. So that's a really handy feature, I believe, and some of those fairs that we do offer are some of the biggest in the country, with hundreds of employers coming every single year to meet with students firsthand on campus. Now, this all sounds great, right? But how do you get accepted to Iowa State? We're a pretty streamlined process in that we are a rolling admission school and we take a very big look at your academics from high school. It's all objective information. There is nothing subjective we require from you for admission. So we're looking at your academics and we're looking for a pretty strong college preparatory program from your high school career. Pretty basic things that many high school graduates will have: 4 years of English, 3 years of science and math, 2 years of social studies. People going into the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences do need to have a 3rd year of social studies, so 1 additional year. And they also require 2 years of a single foreign language, as does the College of Engineering. These are all core subject areas. So that's a key piece of information to keep in your mind when I'm going to the next slide, which gives you details in addition to these minimum high school course requirements of what we're looking from you for the admission process. Iowa State University is one of 3 public universities in the state of Iowa, and we're collectively known as the Regents Universities. And all 3 of us use this formula to calculate something known as your Regents Admission Index. So what that does, one of my favorite former colleagues like to call it a mathematical representation of your high school career. That's one way to put it. That sounds kind of dry, but it's true. It's all objective stuff. Again, nothing subjective, but it gives us an idea to take a very big picture look at you as an applicant. So we do take your ACT or SAT score. Hang on, we'll give you more information in a minute about that. Your GPA and the total number of years of core subjects you have taken. Again, core are those things on the previous slide. English, math, science, social studies, and foreign language are the 5 core subject areas. So everything you've taken in those, we crunch that information about you in that formula looking for an ending score. And as that little hectagon, or I don't know my geometry shapes, that shape in the bottom in red, that indicates that if you have a 245 or higher, that would grant you automatic admission to Iowa State University. So that example of that student getting a 260 is in that range as well. Now, you guys who are seniors, it's a different year. This isn't a typical year how things work, but this year is anything but typical. So knowing that so many of you have not had a chance to take an ACT or an SAT exam due to the pandemic and all the cancellations that have taken place, the Board of Regents has granted us this year to not have that be a requirement. So we are test optional for the class of 2021. So what that means to you is you can submit a score on your application if you want to. Some of you may have that score from before, but maybe you're not super happy with it and you didn't have a chance to retake a test. You don't have to include it if you don't want to. But if you do have a score you want to include, that's fine as well. So it's up to you as to whether or not you want to include your test score. For students who do have everything for the REI formula regular, you would know instantly. It's rapid response as to your admission decision. For those of you who have not had a chance to take a test and either can't report a score or do not want to, that is completely fine. You're at no more of a disadvantage than anyone, and that's not going to be counted against you at all. I'll give you an example. I have a senior son myself, and he has not had a chance to take the test. What we do in those instances is that we do a holistic review of your academic information that you supply to us. You'll probably hear from us in about 2 days or so as to whether or not you've been admitted. So it's not as fast as rapid response, but it's still pretty quick, and you'll get that information pretty spot on quickly. What I will mention to you all who are seniors is it is very helpful to the admission office if you can supply us a copy of your transcript. It can be unofficial. It does not need to be official. It can even be a screenshot, and that is just fine. That gives our office staff a better idea of what you've had in high school. Since we're doing that holistic review, it just gives them another piece of the puzzle to consider. So do keep that in mind. So again, no disadvantage if you have not had a chance to take a test, or if you do not want to supply one for the class of 2021, you do not need to. So keep that in mind. So don't wait to take a test until you apply. You can do that now as quickly as you want to. This is information about the past cost of attendance. The great thing for the current class that's on campus right now, the brand new freshmen, is it's the same cost and fees and everything. The Board of Regents held that for the fall of 2020 students. For you all, for fall of 2021, those decisions will be made next June as to what those fees and tuition are. I will tell you one thing, as Wisconsinites, we do not have reciprocity. The state of Iowa does not have reciprocity blanket with any state, but what we do have is a number of merit scholarships that students can be automatically considered for. The way that these work is when a student applies and gets accepted, they're considered for these automatically in regular years. Again, being that this is an abnormal or not quite the same sort of year, we're working on ways to have students qualify for scholarships even without test scores. And that's being decided on campus as we speak. So hang tight, those things are coming. We're looking to have those roughly at the beginning of October or so as to whether or not you've been awarded these. Now, the way that these scholarships work is there are 3 of them. The Adventure Award, the Journey Award, and the Quest Award are our 3 merit scholarships that the admission office does dispense to applicants who have been accepted. You would be awarded the highest of those 3. So they are not stackable. However, if you do have a parent or grandparent that graduated from Iowa State University, that Generations Award is a stackable scholarship on top of one of those prior 3. So we will let you know from the admission office as to what you have qualified for and what you've been awarded. And the Generations Award is a really small form you need to fill out and submit to the admission office. And you'll be getting information about those prior 3 scholarships in the coming weeks, sometime in October. Again, they are automatic. You don't have to do anything to be considered for them outside of applying and getting accepted. It's kind of like magic, it just happens. One thing I can let you know that you do need to do for scholarships is we do have something called One App, which is exactly what it sounds like. One app for everything else scholarship outside of these programs you're seeing on the slide right here. That is for all the various colleges, those 6 colleges within the university, the various majors within that college. There's many scholarships throughout that. And it's a humongous list of things that we do offer. And One App is fantastic because it basically drills down the list to things that match you and what major you're going into. That One App portal just opened today. For all fall 21 students who have applied and been accepted, you need to submit that application to that portal, and that has to be in by December 15th for priority consideration for those scholarships. So you can do something like right now for those if you've already been accepted, and then these other merit awards will be things coming to you shortly. And that gets us to the end of our presentation already. That goes so quick. We do have a number of different social media platforms. You can stay in touch with us, so please, please do. For any of you who have already applied and been accepted, there is a class of 2025 Facebook page that you can be a part of since you've applied and been accepted. That's oftentimes where people have a chance to meet their mate, like maybe their roommate, send out messages looking for other people who are in the same programs of study. Maybe they're from the same area of the country or the state. It's a great way to meet other fellow future Cyclones before you even come to campus. And then we also have Instagram, and Twitter is also checking up and seeing what's going on in campus, different beautiful shots of campus, activities taking place. We also have a blog too of current students who are going on but a different amount of time per month or per year and giving you an idea of what it's like to be a student on campus. That's a great insight as to what students are doing right now, what their own personal experiences had been on campus. So it's a great way to kind of have a bird's eye view, no pun intended, as to what life is like on campus. So we can go ahead and open things up as far as the Q&A, and have other questions we can offer out to you guys too, as far as other information pieces that we haven't covered. So how are we doing?
Thank you, Kelly, for that wonderful presentation. If you are comfortable, students, we would love to see where you are coming from in the chat tonight. So you could list your hometown and possibly what you're interested in majoring in. So kind of gives us a good idea of who are the students on our presentation tonight. We do have our first question, Kelly, and it is in regards to student involvement outside of the classroom, in particular, if we do have a dance program or a dance team.
Yes, we do. There are several different dance teams that are a part of campus. There's also classes you can take as far as dance. I can say for myself, I should say full disclosure, I'm a journalist by education. I should have said that off at the beginning that I'm an alum of Iowa State. And I did take some dance classes as a student. So there are different ensembles you can try out to be a part of, dance classes and such. We have a POM squad of different dance teams like that as well. So if that's been a part of your life, you certainly can do trying out or being in classes to keep that going as a part of your life.
And something to add about that, we actually do have tryouts typically in the spring semester to be on our varsity dance teams, to cheer on our Cyclones, on our football, our basketball games. In addition, one big club that students participated in particular when I was a student at Iowa State, was called Dub H. It just stands for basically hip hop. And they actually do a show every single year of their different choreographed dances. So a really fun thing to be a part of at Iowa State.
We have dance
And
marathon
kind of
too, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry,
To touch upon kind of outside of the classroom, Kelly, could you give some examples of what do students do on the weekends in Ames? What are some fun activities that students participate in?
Yeah, those more than 900 clubs and activities are a huge part of things going on campus. Iowa State being in Ames is kind of what I would say is your quintessential college town. There's about an equal number of permanent residents in the city as there are students on campus. So when the academic year starts, the population of the city of Ames basically doubles in quite a short amount of time. That being the case, in a college town, people who live in college towns expect for there to be things to do. There's always things that are a part of campus life, be that plays or musicals or concerts or Broadway shows or things that in normal years when those things were happening and traveling that we get all the time. Farthest thing from a suitcase campus you can imagine. There's always something going on. It's not the type of place where you need to leave to go elsewhere. There's nothing happening on the weekend. There's things happening all the time. The clubs and activities, again, are huge. It's a great way to be able to do many of the same things you've done your entire life and or maybe try something brand new. So I would say the big thing about campus is that you're going to graduate not having a chance to do everything that you wanted to. There's that many things to take advantage of.
I would 100% agree to that, Kelly. And my 4 years at Iowa State just flew by. We do have some questions in regards to courses, and in particular, can you talk about who is teaching the courses at Iowa State? Sometimes we get questions in regards to, are they full-time professors that are tenured, or do we have graduate students that will obviously be the professor in our classes?
Right. I would say about 85% or more of the classes that you're taught are by professors, be that full professors or adjunct professors, kind of a mixture of them. I think that people you send to see that are more graduate or teaching assistants or those types of students tend to be in classes where a professor hires somebody to lead their recitation sections. Larger classes are going to have time that you're with the professor in lecture, but they may break out into smaller recitation sections. And that's oftentimes where a professor will hire people to lead those sessions because they can't be in all those individual sessions themselves. but the vast percentage of people that you're going to have teaching you are going to be professors.
Thank you, Kelly.
My pleasure.
And then kind of going back to student clubs and organizations, we have some students that are interested in our Greek system. So if they're interested in joining a sorority or a fraternity, what would you recommend where they should begin?
Best place to begin would be on our website to the Greek community. Pardon me, I got a froggy throat. The Greek community has a website on our main campus website too. That's a great place to connect with them. They oftentimes have opportunities for people to come and have these times virtual meetings with people in the Greek community. About 14% of our students are in the Greek community in fraternities and sororities. For young women that are wanting to be a part of the sorority system, formal recruitment takes place the week before classes start in August. For young men wanting to go into fraternities, that's kind of a mixture of a formal, informal type of system where that starts oftentimes in the spring and goes all throughout the summer for young men to meet people from the different Greek chapters on campus. The one thing I can say is that it's a very diverse offering, but it's not the type of campus where you have to be Greek to have a social life. It's a very healthy balance, but people who are in the Greek community and those that are not. And I think that's one of the best things about campus is it's a mixture of all kinds of people looking for all kinds of different things. But having a chance to connect with the Greek community through the website and what they're going to be offering as far as opportunities for new prospective students to connect with them is probably your best first stop.
And something note on a personal level, students, I was actually a part of a sorority at Iowa State. I didn't go through the formal recruitment process before my freshman year. I actually joined my sorority later on in my freshman year. So just know that if you're not considering it earlier on, but you might later, you can absolutely join at a later time during your tenure at Iowa State. We do have a question as well in regards to second majors or minors. How easy or difficult is it to pursue a second major or minor at Iowa State, Kelly?
It can be very easy. The best thing you need to do is to make that possibility known as early as you can. Even before you come to campus for orientation, if you do decide to enroll at Iowa State, orientation is in June before you would start classes in August. And having a chance to meet or talk with somebody who's an advisor beforehand is huge. Just to kind of pose those questions. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about this major and maybe that one as well, or this major and a minor. Easy enough to do. It's the earliest you let somebody know, the better, because oftentimes there's classes you could take that might fulfill the requirements of both programs. And having those advisors know what you're thinking of is going to be how they can best serve you.
And in regards to just support of making sure, students succeed in the classroom, what support is offered at Iowa State to ensure student success?
Yeah, your advisor is kind of your lynch person when it comes to all things offered in your major and the kind of academic support from the beginning. However, there are services on campus through the different types of programs as far as not just advising, but having a chance to meet with people as far as supplemental instruction is something we have on campus where many of the larger classes that everybody has to take in order to graduate, a student who has done well in the class beforehand can apply to be an SI instructor. And what they do is they don't take the class again, but they sit in on that class with you, and then they lead review sections a number of times a week. They're in that class to learn how that professor is teaching those topics, and they can best impart to you the way to probably study for classes and for tests, and things along those lines. So that's one thing. Having a chance to have work with other students in groups can also be something you do through the different college programs. You have a chance to be in something called learning communities too. Some of those are residential. Some of them are non-residential, but you have a chance to take classes with other people in the program just like you. And it gives you a chance to know other folks right from the beginning, built-in study partners. The best thing too is going to your advisor's office, not your advisor, your professor's office hours. They like to joke that the loneliest place to be on campus is a professor during office hours because people tend to not come and visit them. But having a chance to go to your professor during office hours and ask questions, look for some advice on how to best do something, recover topics with you, they're there for you. So there's plenty of things to do that. And tutoring also is something that can be offered to you, could be free of charge or very nominally. And sometimes you can do that as a group as well. So plenty of things. In high school, I have a feeling that people tend to think that asking for help is not cool. Get over that right away, because oftentimes the smartest people in college are the ones that ask for help, and there's plenty of it to be had on campus.
And I know on top of your academic advisor and your professor to go for resources, there is actually academic success coaches that can help you with study skills, time management, kind of really that transition from high school to college. And that is literally free for all students to participate in our Hickson Lead Student Success Center. And as Kelly mentioned in the presentation, you also have career advisors that are within your college or your specific major that can really help you in your path of looking for internships, full-time employment, or just simply looking at your resume. So there's a lot of support on our campus to make sure you're successful. Kind of changing gears to more scholarship and financial aid, Kelly, do you have an idea of what % of students receive financial aid or need at Iowa State? And what would you recommend students participate in, particularly senior year, to ensure they maximize their financial aid?
Yeah, I believe that about 85, don't quote me on the stat because I might not have the most up-to-date number, but a vast percentage of our students get some kind of financial assistance. As to making a dollar amount, that's almost impossible. With almost 30 some odd thousand students on campus, the aid packages are humongously different as far as the amount that they're getting. Best things to do to keep in mind: one app that's open. If you applied and been accepted as a fall 21 student, don't wait, go on there, do it now before you forget. Also, the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, will be live through the federal government and on October 1st. Iowa State has a December 1st priority deadline for consideration for whatever we have to offer on campus as well. So those two things are key. I would say looking outside of those sources too. Look in your community, look in your high school. Oftentimes parents, employers, civic organizations, there's oftentimes many high schools have a full list of scholarships to be considered as well. So when you're a senior, make looking for scholarships kind of your, I don't want to say your part-time job, but take some time, a couple hours once a week to do those types of things. Fastweb.com is a reputable source as far as looking for outside scholarships as well. So just keep looking. It's amazing how many things scholarship-wise are out there that go unclaimed. And the one thing too is people kind of go, well, it's only $500 here or there. Well, $400 or $500 scholarship spends the same way as a $2,000 scholarship. So taking the time to look for those things as a senior is something you want to keep in mind to keep doing and looking for.
That's definitely great advice, Kelly, for sure, for students looking for maximizing their financial aid packages. We haven't had any questions so far about housing, but I'm pretty sure that students, I'm sure you're interested in, how is that process at Iowa State? Did many students their freshman year live on campus? Is it required to live on our campus? Could you share some information about that, Kelly?
Sure. Living on campus is not required. And as a mom, that makes me go, oh. But what I can tell you is that a vast percentage of our students do live on campus. Probably more than 10,000 or so do opt to live on campus. We have 19 different residence halls on campus. 2 of them are set up in the suite style where you have 2 rooms that share one common bathroom between the 2 of them. It's a total of 4 people, 2 in each room. The other buildings are what you think of as far as your typical residence hall. 2 people to a room, 1 large bathroom for the 45 to 50 some people that live on the floor, a den space among that as well. There's all kinds of different options as far as where the different learning communities are housed if they are residential. The way the process works is that when you apply and get accepted to the university, you're invited, when you're comfortable doing so, to deposit with the university. It's a $330 charge for that, and part of that does enable you to then contract for housing. The date you deposit becomes what is known as your priority date. And students are assigned housing based on the highest priority date on down. And that's how you'd be getting your housing contract next spring before you would enroll at Iowa State at the end of next summer. The website is tremendous when it comes to listings of what are the different halls look like, where the different specialty houses are. We have like an honors house. We have all kinds of different houses that way too. It's all right there on the website. I encourage you to take a look at that website in the hopes that maybe sometime in the spring we'll have a chance for you to come see things physically yourself. But the website is a tremendous listing of what we have to offer. There are a lot of people that stay on campus all 4 years. I was almost one of them myself. I moved off campus and then I came back not too long after because it was such a great thing. All residence halls are right there on campus. For those of you who have not visited campus yet, campus is very pedestrian. You can walk one side to the other in roughly a 15-minute walk, and all the residence halls are right there. So it does make life really easy to be right there on campus, and it's a great place to live.
I would also add, students, you can choose your own roommate. If you have a suite style, you could actually choose your entire suite mates. You could go random. That's completely fine. I had a random roommate my freshman year. Another really big advantage of living on campus is our Iowa State dining. So Kelly, could you just share a little bit more information about the dining options at Iowa State and what makes it so unique?
It is good food. Actually, it's great food. Scout's honor. It really, truly is. The way that the dining system works is that you do have 3 different meal plans to choose from. Everyone is put on the middle of the road plan automatically, but you can change that should you want to. There's one that has more meals per week and one that has fewer meals per week. But that's all based on kind of a swipe situation. So it's not like you have a breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day, and if you don't use it, you lose it. It's more based on meal swipes. So you go and swipe to go into a dining center for those meals, and then you have the chance to eat. It's all you care to eat. So you can keep going back for more and more should you want to. In addition to the main dining centers, you do have a chance to eat in something called convenience stores, which are all kind of scattered across campus. And it sounds exactly like what it is. It's a place to go and grab like a coffee, a drink, a pastry, a sandwich, whatever, if you wanted to do something quick that way. Food truly, truly is good. It's amazing the options that they have. There's always like a pizza and pasta station. There's a make your sub sandwich station. There's entrees of the day. There's salad bar station. I think there's cereal pretty much at every meal. So you're going to have to work very, very hard to be hungry. There's too many things to take advantage of. And Rice Krispie treats are our claim to fame at Iowa State. The person who made that recipe, made it famous, is Mildred Day, is actually a graduate from Iowa State, I believe 1932. So yeah, we kind of take our Rice Krispies seriously, and the rest of the desserts on campus are amazing. So lots of things to offer.
My favorite dessert was by far the Rice Krispie treat or Scotcheroos, if you're a fan of that, students.
Yes.
We only have a few more minutes left, but I want to make sure if you have any questions, just a reminder to put those in the Q&A for Kelly and I. But I know, Kelly, you mentioned that Iowa State is a very pedestrian-friendly campus. Can students actually bring cars from Wisconsin to Iowa State? And how do students go about getting around Ames?
You can bring a car. I don't recommend it, especially as a freshman. I challenge the students I work with to not come with one, especially for your first semester, your freshman year, and just give it a try. It truly is amazing how easy it is to get around. It truly is 15 minutes side to side, any direction, getting where you need to go on campus. And for those rainy days, really hot days, snowy days, whatever the case is, or days you just don't feel like walking, there is a bus system known as Ride that students get to ride for free that skirts the entire campus and goes within a 2-block walk of pretty much anywhere in the city of Ames. So doing your Target runs, your Walmart runs, all that you can do for free through the bus system. So you truly don't need a vehicle to get around, so much so that if you bring it as a freshman, you're going to probably end up parking at the football stadium. So your car's going to sit there because you're not going to use it. So if you want to bring one, we don't say you can't, but I challenge students to not, because it really truly is so easy to get around. It's one less thing to worry about.
I would agree, Kelly. I brought a vehicle my first year. I was about 2 hours away from my hometown in Iowa, and it practically sat by Jack Trice Stadium unless I was going home for a weekend. But I really utilized the Sci Ride and walked everywhere on campus. So very pedestrian friendly. Loved that you could get anywhere pretty much accessible within 10 to 15 minutes, as Kelly was mentioning. To wrap things up, to make sure that you have an evening as well after this, students, I do have one last question for Kelly. And this is, what is your favorite spot on campus that always takes you back from your experiences as a student?
That is easy, bar none. My favorite place on campus is just outside the Memorial Union. Right outside this rotating door is Fountain of the Four Seasons, and you sit there at the fountain, and you can right across from the Campanile, which is the bell tower on campus. And during the school year, they play something on the quarter hours, and then on the hour at noon, they play like concerts. And I just love sitting there, and the campus is gorgeous, and seeing all of that right there in front of you and listening to the bells and the water trickling during the season when that fountain is on is magical. That just makes me feel like I'm right back there again. What about you, Colleen? What's your favorite?
I would have to say, students, through our virtual tour, and if you're able to visit our campus later this spring 2021, it really is looking outside of the Memorial Union to our bell tower, which is referred to as the Campanile. And what's really cool about that is the carillon is played by actually a music professor, and she does take requests on Fridays. And so at noon, when the bell tower rings out, you'll know that she'll start playing the music, and you can actually do requests. So I always think that that shot of our central campus is absolutely stunning. We have been ranked in the top 5 most beautiful college campuses, and there's just something to be said that we have all 4 seasons, and how that changes on our central campus is one of my favorite aspects.
I would agree. I would agree. Well, students, I'm hoping you had a great time to learn more about us tonight. For any of you who did not get your questions answered, please remember that StrideScan will be sending us a list of all the questions. So if there's something we didn't get back to, we will shortly, and keep us connected. I mean, anything you have questions about, reach out, let us know what we can do for you. Check us out on social media, and I'm really, really happy you were here this evening, and go Cyclones.
Thank you all. Thank you for joining us. I am just going to let you know that there is a quick survey, 4 questions survey that will appear after you close this window. If you could please complete that, we'd appreciate it. You can certainly sign up for more sessions at wacac.com, and the recordings of all the sessions will be available there. So if you missed anything or want to share this one, you are welcome to, and you will find them all there. Thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.